A uniform circular rod of length d has one end fixed to the central axis of a horizontal frictionless circular platform of radius r equals 2d. Fixed at the other end of the rod is an ideal spring of negligible mass to which a block is attached. The block is set in frictionless grooves so it can only move along a radius of the platform as shown in figure 1 above. The equilibrium length of the spring is d over 2. Below is a table showing the mass of the block and the masses and rotational inertias of the rod and platform. A motor begins to slowly rotate the platform counterclockwise as viewed from above, until the platform reaches a constant angular speed omega. Under these conditions, the spring has stretched by an additional length d over 2, as shown in figure 2. Answer the following questions for the platform rotating at constant angular speed omega. Express all algebraic answers in terms of m, d, omega, and physical constants as appropriate. So let's highlight the important things. First of all, keep in mind that we want answer in terms of these, and that the speed is constant, that the additional length is d over 2, and that the original length is 2d. Part A, derive an expression for the spring constant of the spring. So pretty easy. We have this thing that's being pulled in by a spring. We know that it is also traveling with some omega and therefore has some velocity. We know velocity will be omega r. Therefore, the centripetal acceleration that it must suffer is v squared over r, which is going to be omega r all squared over r, or omega squared r. And from Newton's second law, we have that the spring force has to equal the mass times the acceleration, because it's the only force acting. K times the stretch in the spring, which is given as d over 2, is the mass times the acceleration, which is omega squared r, which was 2d. Putting all of that together, we get that the spring constant is 4m omega squared. And then we want, all right, Part B, subpart 1, determine an expression for the rotational inertia of the block around the axis of the platform. But for a point mass, it's pretty easy. The rotational inertia of a point mass is just the mass times the distance from the axis squared. And here we need things in terms of d, so we put that in, and we get 4md squared. And then subpart 2, derive an expression for the rotational inertia of the entire system about the axis of the platform. And since they're all around a common axis, it would just be the block plus the platform plus the rod. And no word shifting because they're around it. And then it's kind of weird because in the table they gave you these, except for the one we just found, 4md squared plus mass of the platform, which was 5m times r squared, which is 2d squared over 2. And the mass of the rod is 3m, right? It's 3m, the mass of the rod, times the distance squared, which was, I guess, d squared. They actually put that there, over 3. And then we just add it up. And we get 15md squared. Kind of a bizarre question since they gave you everything that you needed. Part C, determine an expression for the angular momentum of the entire system about the axis of the platform. And we know, of course, that L is I omega, but we just figured out what I was. 15m omega, md square times omega, and then that's it. So it's kind of a curious point they give you, but fine. And then they say, while the system continues to rotate, a small mechanism in the pivot moves the rod slowly into the center of the rod is positioned on the axis as shown in figure 3 to the right. The same constant angular speed omega is maintained by the motor driving the platform. D, derive an expression for the distance x that the spring is stretched when the rod reaches the position shown in figure 3 above. So we want to note that since the entire rod was of length d, and now we're at the center, then this is also d over 2. And so our distance of the mass from the center is d over 2 plus d over 2 plus x, or just d plus x. And so we would say, well, our centripetal force is still our spring force, or m omega squared of the distance from the center, which is d plus x, equals k times the stretch in the spring, which is x. Remember that k itself was 4m omega squared, so we have that. And then we just do some algebra. We say that m omega squared d plus m omega squared x equals 4m omega squared times x. First thing we might as well do is get rid of the m's and omega squares. And that leaves us with that d plus x equals 4x, d equals 3x, x equals 1/3 d. For parts E, F, and G, assume that the center of the rod is still moving towards the axis of the platform. E, is the angular momentum of the entire system increasing, decreasing, or staying the same? And then justify your answer. Let's always stress the justify your answer or you'll get no credit. But what we have here, of course, is that as the block and rod, right, which were normally started off like here, and then we end up with the block in and the rod lower down, and this is still the point of rotation. Well, we know that the I for the block has decreased, and the I for the rod has decreased. So together this means the I for the system has decreased. But L equals I omega, and omega is constant. So L must have decreased. Part F. In order to keep the system rotating with constant angular speed omega, is the motor doing positive work or negative work or no work on the rotating system? And justify your answer. Well, the kinetic energy is a half I omega square. And we just argued that omega is constant, but I is decreasing. So K is decreasing. That means that delta K is negative, but the work equals delta K, so it is also negative. Part G, on the block in figure 4 to the right, draw a single vector representing the direction of the acceleration of the block. Draw the vector so that it is starting on and pointing away from the block. So a couple of important things here. A single vector, starting on, pointing away. Well, if we consider our, let's do a little sketch on the side so we don't get in trouble with their pictures. In the first case, we have, when the thing is at the edge, we have a velocity like this, which is v equals omega r. And then in the second case, a little bit later, we have a new velocity, which is omega times whatever the new radius is, which is less. That v new is less than v. So there must be an acceleration which points this way, tangential to the circle, because it's getting slower. Of course, we know there's also an acceleration towards the center because going in a circle. So our actual acceleration is something moving over and something moving down. We know, of course, if that's the same as drawing it this way, which means we can add them to find the actual final acceleration, which is this. So I should draw something like this. And we get something on those lines. They don't ask for a justification, but it's good to have one.